rebellion was bold, brutal, and unforgettable, a defining moment of resistance in ancient Britain. From being crowned queen to leading tens of thousands into battle, Boudica's life was a storm wrapped in iron and fire. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You are not born in a palace. There are no golden cradles or marble floors. You are born in a roundhouse, thatched roof, packed earth floor, smoke curling out of the hole in the ceiling like it's late for something. Outside, the wind hums across the moors. Inside, your mother hums something older. You are Iceni, born to the eastern edges of Britannia, a land the Romans will one day call a frontier, but which to you is simply home. There are no maps, only instincts. The rivers speak, the oaks stand tall, and the land feeds you when you respect it, and punishes you when you don't. As a child, you are not sheltered. You are wind-battered, mud-smeared, sun-warmed. You learn to ride before you walk properly. You learn the weight of a spear before you learn embroidery, which is just as well, since your embroidery looks like it wants to fight. Your parents encourage this. Daughters must be as sharp as sons, maybe sharper. Sons can be stupid and still inherit. Daughters have to earn it. The elders teach you stories, not from scrolls, but from memory. Tales of gods with antlers, queens with iron wills, and rivers that carry away cowards. You listen with wide eyes and a mouth full of honeyed oats. You don't just want to hear the stories. You want to be one. Your tribe lives close to the land and closer to rumour. You hear whispers of strange men with red cloaks and steel sandals landing to the south. They build roads where the earth didn't ask for them. They cut down sacred groves to make space for taxis. But they are far away. For now. You don't think about Rome. You think about horses. You think about the talk around your neck, bronze, heavy, passed down by the women who came before you. You think about your name, Boudica, and how it means victory. You smile at that. It feels more like a prophecy than a name. One day the Romans will know it too. But for now, you're still growing, still watching the fog roll in, still waiting for the story to begin. By the time you're 10, you've already learned two key truths of Iceni life. One, the Romans are always up to something, and two, if you don't learn to swing a blade, you may end up under one. You grow up surrounded by warriors, not polished soldiers with matching uniforms and synchronized marching like the Romans, but hardened fighters with wild hair, louder voices, and absolutely no sense of indoor volume. Armour is optional, scars are not. Your tutors are not scholars, they are survivors. Your lessons begin at dawn, not arithmetic, but with a wooden sword and a bruised shin. You learn to block before you learn to breathe through your nose properly. Every meal comes with a side of training, whether it's dagger drills, spear throws, or dodging goats that seem personally offended by your existence. You're taught to ride by a man who's more horse than human and smells like he sleeps in hay, because he does. Your first mount is a shaggy pony with one eye and the attitude of a drunk badger. You bond immediately, but it's not all violence of livestock. You sit by the fire with the speak, when to listen, and how to roll your eyes politely behind someone's back. And then there are the druids, the local mystics, wrapped in robes and riddles, who insist on dragging you into rituals involving standing stones, sacred oaks, and long-winded poetry that may or may not be about you. One particularly dramatic elder insists you were chosen by the gods. You're not sure which gods or what for, but it sounds vaguely threatening. You grow into your name, Boudica, victory, and soon you are queen, not by birthright alone, but by alliance. You marry Prasutagus, the ruling king of the Iceni, a clever man, a cautious man, and importantly, a man who has learned to smile politely at Rome while gritting his teeth. Rome doesn't conquer all at once. Sometimes it offers contracts instead of swords. That's what happened to your husband. After an earlier revolt in 47 CE, not led by you yet, the Iceni agreed to become a client kingdom of Rome. A friend. You remain independent, in theory. In reality, you're now expected to nod approvingly at Roman taxes, Roman architecture, and Roman officials who can't pronounce local names. As queen, your life changes. You live in a larger roundhouse now, one with Roman pottery and the occasional visitor in polished armour who smells like olive oil and superiority. You wear fine wool and imported jewellery, but you never forget the feel of iron and bone. You host feasts, you pour wine, you endure Roman small talk. One governor gifts you a polished bronze mirror. You almost return the favour with your axe. Still, you play the role well. Diplomacy is another kind of war, and you learn its rhythms. You watch Prasutagus walk the tightrope. He trades with Rome, keeps the peace, but never quite trusts the hand he's shaking. Together, you rule a tribe that hasn't surrendered, that hasn't rebelled, yet. You give birth to daughters. Two strong, sharp-eyed girls. They ride like lightning and bite like it too. You train them to speak with fire. You don't raise them to marry well. You raise them to survive. Then your husband grows sick. The illness spreads slowly, like ink in water. Prasutagus knows what happens to tribal lands when kings die without a Roman-friendly plan. So he does what he thinks is wise. He writes a will. He names Rome as co-heir to the Iceni kingdom, alongside you and your daughters. He thinks it's clever, compromise, a bridge. But Rome doesn't do co-parenting, especially not with women. You bury your husband in silence. You place his talk on the altar. And then you wait. Not for grief to pass, but for Rome to arrive. And they will. Not with condolences, but with chains. Your husband's body is barely cold when they come. Roman administrators, wearing smug expressions and impractical cloaks, arrive at your settlement not to mourn, but to audit. They don't bring condolences. They bring scrolls, debt collectors, and a particularly punchable air of entitlement. Prasutagus' will, naming Rome and his family as heirs, ignored, conveniently. The empire claims everything: land, weapons, livestock, treasure, even your throne. As if grief wasn't insulting enough, they inform you that the Iceni are now fully under Roman control. No vote, no ceremony, just Latin paperwork and a forced smile. You try diplomacy. You quote their own laws back at them. They quote steel back at you. Then it escalates. Roman soldiers storm your home, not with an army. They don't need one. Just enough men to send a message. They tear down your status like it's scaffolding. They strip you, beat you, publicly. The queen of the Iceni, dragged through the dirt in front of your people. And your daughters, you dare not speak it aloud. What they endured was beyond cruelty. The kind of trauma Rome writes off as discipline. The kind that never leaves a mother's heart. You hold them afterward, trembling and silent. You look into their eyes, and something old stirs inside you, older than Rome. Something the Romans never understood, fury with purpose. The village elders urge patience. They fear Rome's retribution. They speak of survival, of waiting, of silence. You do not scream, not yet. But inside you a new oath is written. The Iceni are watching. Your people kneel beside you in the dirt, not in weakness, but in shared rage. This wasn't just an insult to you. This was a message to every Briton. You will bow, or we will break you. And you think, if they wanted you broken, they should have killed you. You don't rise for your own dignity. You rise because the land itself demands it. The ancestors demand it. The gods of oak and iron demand it. You rise because your daughters will never be anyone's spoils. And somewhere far away, Rome has no idea that they've just made their worst mistake. They said it was justice, order, policy, necessary correction. But what you remember is the sound, the whip on your back, the silence of your people, the weight of your daughter's stares, not full of fear, but something worse, understanding. Because they know this isn't about tribute, or land, or politics. It's about humiliation. You, Boudica, queen of the Iceni, dragged from your home and lashed like a thief in front of your tribe. Not executed. No, that would have made you a martyr. This is more efficient. You're alive, broken, visibly disgraced, meant to serve as a warning. But whoever authorised this had clearly never met an angry Briton. The scars on your back don't hurt as much as the memory of your daughters. What was done to them, what can't be undone. They are too young for vengeance, but you are not. And as the blood dries, you begin to calculate. You don't scream. You plot. You attend the tribal councils. You say little. You listen more. You gather the whispers of other tribes just as angry, just as bruised. The Trinovantes, the Catuvellauni, the Dobunni. Rome thinks you're all fractured, and they're right. But even a cracked rock can crush a man's skull if dropped from high enough. You begin speaking in metaphors. Fire, storm. The mother bear who loses her cubs. You do not demand war. You offer revenge as a natural consequence. The women hear you first, then the elders, then the warriors. You train in secret. Old weapons are reforged. The druids begin chanting at night. The gods are listening. So are the Roman spies. And by the time they understand what's building, it will be too late. You braid your daughter's hair with iron clasps. You sharpen your spear. You paint your face not for ceremony, but for war. One morning, you look in the river and don't see a queen. You see an executioner. Rome thought it was punishing you. What it actually did was give you the one thing no empire should ever hand its enemies. A reason. The wound has not healed, but now it bleeds forward. You don't make speeches. Not at first. You don't need to. The people have seen your back. They've seen your daughters' faces. That's the only campaign poster you need. But war needs momentum, not just pain. So you ride. Village to village. Campfire to council fire. Your presence does the talking. Tall, fierce, wrapped in a wolf fur cloak, your red hair wild in the wind. Some say your eyes gleam like coals. That's an exaggeration. Probably. But you let them believe it. Fear travels faster than truth. You speak of freedom, but not in pretty metaphors. You remind them what the Romans did. To you. To them. You name the taxes, the floggings, the gods disrespected, the groves desecrated. You speak plainly, because rage doesn't need poetry. The tribes gather. First the Trinovantes, old enemies of Rome. Then others. Britons who never trusted you before suddenly see you not as royalty, but as vengeance given flesh. You sharpen not just weapons, but memory. You smear your face with blue road. It stains your skin like ice. It isn't just for intimidation, though it works. It's ritual, a rebirth. You are not the woman who was beaten. You are the storm she became. Your army grows, thousands upon thousands, peasants with sickles, warriors with blades, druids with eyes that stare too long. Even the old and lame bring something, food, horses, stories. You ride a chariot, iron-bladed wheels cutting mud. Your daughters ride with you, not as ornaments, but as omens. You are a family affair now, a mother not just of children, but of rebellion. Word reaches Roman ears, of course. At first they laugh. The Queen, leading an army, how quaint. Then scouts report numbers, scale, coordination. Rome stops laughing, but they still don't believe you'll actually do anything. After all, Britons bicker, tribes feud, women mourn. They don't lead wars, they don't burn cities. But you are not here to meet expectations. You are here to set them on fire. Smoke rises from your campfires, but soon, very soon, the smoke will rise from theirs. They keep coming, first in dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. They arrive on horseback, on foot, by cart and chariot. Some wear cloaks of wool. Others come nearly bare, painted in swirling blue, eyes bright with something between faith and fury. There are farmers who've never held a weapon, and warriors who've forgotten what it's like not to. A boy no older than your daughters insists on building a slingshot over his father's belt. You don't send him home. You nod. Because this is no longer a rebellion. This is a reckoning. The Roman word for you now is terra nullius, the terror of a woman. You imagine them muttering it around fires, half mocking, half worried. You hope it haunts their dreams. Your camp grows into a mobile city. Traders arrive to sell bread, arrows and talismans shaped like your chariot. Bards begin composing songs before the first real battle is fought. Your name passes from lips like a prayer, or a threat, depending on who's listening. Still, you keep order. You appoint scouts, messengers, commanders of villages and clans. You don't want chaos. You want something Rome will never see coming. Organisation. Every night the fires burn bright. The druids chant in languages older than empires. You bless weapons with blood. Sometimes pig. Sometimes not. You don't ask. There's no official head count, but the Romans will later claim your force was over 100,000 strong. You don't count. You feel them. The heat, the noise, the pressure of 10,000 dreams pushing behind your chariot wheels. Your daughters sleep near you, curled beneath a bear pelt. You watch them. They sleep like children, but they march like queens. You look at the assembled army, your people, your fury, your fire, and you think, this is what Rome was afraid of, and they were right. You are not Caesar. You are not crowned in gold, but you are followed, not for conquest, for justice, not for wealth, for vengeance. You tighten the grip on your spear. Soon there will be a Roman city on the horizon, and behind you, a sea of spears that refuses to forget. You choose Camalodunum first, the Roman colony at the edge of Iceni territory. Once, it was a tribal stronghold. Now it's a Roman veteran settlement, fat with smugness and marble. A model city for civilizing the Britons. It even has a temple, not to your gods, of course. No, they've built a gleaming shrine to Emperor Claudius, their dead emperor, as if worshipping a Roman corpse somehow legitimizes the living ones. The locals call it sacred. Your people call it offensive architecture. You don't arrive quietly. The scouts see you coming, or more precisely, they see the dust cloud you bring with you. Your army is too large to hide, and frankly, you've no interest in hiding. Subtlety is for traitors. This is a warning. Roman officials scramble. There are no legions stationed here, just retired soldiers and their families, men who thought their work was done. They arm themselves with rusted blades and parade armour. You arrive to find them preparing speeches, not defences. You give them neither quarter nor time. The city falls in a matter of hours. Your army moves like a tide, smashing gates, toppling columns, torching villas. Your chariots circle, driving the terrified into narrow streets. The Roman citizens scream for mercy. You remember screaming too once, but not today. The temple of Claudius is the last to fall. The defenders barricade themselves inside, praying to stone and plaster. It takes 2 days to burn it down, not because of resistance, but because the fire is slow and thorough, like your memory. By the 3rd day, Camulodunum is ash, and the message is sent. Rome has lost a city, not to another empire, not to a rival army, but to the very people it claimed were already conquered. You stand among the ruins. You don't smile. This isn't joy, it's necessity. The wind shifts, smoke clings to your cloak. Somewhere behind you, your daughters collect bits of scorched bronze, trophies from the temple. You let them. They deserve to carry weight. This is only the beginning. The next target is richer, larger, more important, and very, very Roman, Londinium. You don't rest long. You can't. Word spreads like fire, and so does fear. Rome knows now, and Rome responds, but not fast enough. You ride south toward Londinium, the jewel of Roman Britain, a trading hub, a commercial artery. It's young but bustling, full of merchants, soldiers, and colonists. They say it's the empire's future. You decide to cancel that future. Along the road, the people begin to flee. You don't chase them. You don't need to. Their panic works better than any banner. When refugees outrun soldiers, you know your message is landing. By the time you reach the outskirts of Londinium, you see it. The red cloaks are gone. Governor Gaius Suetonius Paulinus, a hard man, busy putting down a rebellion in Wales, made it back just in time to retreat. He looked at your numbers, your fires, your smoke-darkened sky, and did the most Roman thing imaginable. He left. He abandoned the city to save the province. You don't hesitate. Londinium is wide open. Streets meant for parades now run with ash. The marketplaces that once sold olive oil and honeyed dates are stripped clean, then razed. Roman homes, warehouses, bathhouses, all reduced to cinders. There are those who stay. Some believe the empire will protect them. Some are too old, too proud, or simply too slow. You issue one final offer. Leave now, or be judged by the gods of your land and mine. Many ignore you. History will call what happens next a massacre. The Romans naturally will count the bodies. Tens of thousands, they'll say. Maybe that's true. But what you know is this. You were unheard, and now the world listens. Among the flames, you find a Roman ledger, half burned. It lists Essene names beside deaths. You toss it into the fire and keep walking. No temples are spared, not this time. You tear the statues down with your own hands. The gods who watched your daughters suffer get no mercy. By nightfall, Londinium is silent. The city does not scream anymore. You ride out with your army larger than before, fed by smoke and fury. The next target is already chosen, Verulamium. And after that, the reckoning. Verulamium isn't just Roman, it's Roman with ambition. Streets paved in imported stone, fountains that never ask permission, villas that stretch wider than most tribal clearings. It's not a military post, it's a statement, a polite one, wrapped in mosaics and taxes. You head there next. By now the message